Hello, Christ Church. We are in day 3 of our study on the book of Psalms, specifically Psalm 90 is what we're looking at this week. And my name is Paul Fowler. I serve as our Lake Forest campus pastor. Glad to be back sharing with you all this week on this. So what we've seen in verse 1 through 6 is that God is the infinite creator. We are the finite created beings. And then where Moses turns this psalm in verse 7 through 12 is that God is angry. Why is he angry? It's because of our sin. It's because we've ruined the creation that God had set forth with our own choices of doing it our own way. And that if we can understand that our days are limited, that's where we can get wisdom. Where does Moses go next? What does he want us to learn? I love how he ends this. Look at verse 13. Relent, Lord. How long will it be? Have compassion on your servants. Why would this angry God give compassion? Why is Moses asking for compassion? Moses continues the same theme in verse 14. Satisfy us in the morning with your unfailing love, that we may sing for joy and be glad all our days. He's asking this angry, rightly so God, who is the infinite being, to make us satisfied, to give us his unfailing love, that we might sing for joy, that we might be glad. If we're the ones that are the reason why God is angry, why would he give us these things? Moses continues this appeal in verse 15. Make us glad for as many days as you have afflicted us, for as many years if we have seen trouble. Again, this theme of gladness that he's asking God for. May your deeds be shown to your servants, your splendor to their children. May the favor of the Lord our God rest on us. Establish the work of our hands for us. Yes, establish the work of our hands. Moses, throughout all these verses, is asking for the people who have run away from God to be glad, to be satisfied. Why? Why would this angry God do this? Well, it's because, verse 14, God is a God of unfailing love. But there's a big change that happens here. How does God go from being angry in verse 7 to being a God who can show us compassion, to be a God who can make us glad? To understand that, we really have to understand the story of the gospel. That from creation, we set off on our way away from God. But the good news is that Jesus Christ came down to earth, Jesus, the Son of God, very much God, to die on the cross for us, to demonstrate his love for us. And what happens on the cross, and we see this spoken about in Romans and other places, is that the wrath of God is poured out on Jesus Christ. It's not that God just decides not to be angry. No, there has to be an atonement or a redemption for us as well. And so the wrath of God is poured out on Jesus Christ for us. That's how sin is dealt with. That's how God's anger is atoned for, is because of Jesus Christ. And so one of the most important things that I think as we look at this passage today is we got to ask ourselves, is this our confession? Is this what we believe? Do we believe that we have sinned and we are therefore separated from God? And then from that, do we honestly believe that God in his love for us came down to die in our place, that we would know that God is a God of unfailing love? And from that, we get the gladness and the satisfaction of being with him forever. I hope you can take some time to pray, talk about that today. Think about God's love for you. But you have to understand it in the lens of God's wrath and anger upon our sin, but that Jesus redeems us from there.